I'll call this meeting to order. We stand and say the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Caroline, can you have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Bryler?
Here.
Mrs. Minnie?
Here.
Mr. Plattsburgh?
Here.
Mr. Ethel?
Here.
Mrs. Trumbull here.
Okay, next would be the consent agenda with a total amount of $550,547.69.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the bill and that for my company.
Okay, I'll second it. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda without Mr. Brylett's bill in there. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Mr. Bryler?
Yes.
Mr. Ethel?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Plattsburgh?
Yes.
Mrs. Trumbull, yes.
Okay, citizens wishing to address the board.
Do we have to approve Mr. Bryler's bill?
Well, yeah, maybe we ought to respond to it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Mr. Brylett's bill. That was on there.
Yeah, what's the amount of that?
49.
49?
490639. That's the demo and a bunch of grapes.
Right. And a second? I'll second it.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ethel?
Yes.
Mrs. Trumbull? Yes. Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Plattsburgh?
Yes.
And Mr. Bryler?
I abstain.
Well, now that the bills are paid, we'll go on to citizens wishing to address the board. Lisa Vargo, would you stand and give us your address, please?
3772 Maple Road, Lake Shore. We have a big problem with really noisy people, and police cannot come help us. Like DJs blasting radios and speakers, and 2 in the morning sometimes, and we have little kids, and we'll be in bed, and our rooms will be thumping. And we're in a house, and you can hear this going on, and we called for help, and nobody can help us, and then the sergeant said to come here and ask you how do we get that started, because Fort Gratiot has one, Kimball has one, Port Huron has one. What do we do?
Well, we have one, but Bill, could you address that?
We don't have we don't have a noise ordinance. We have no noise.
But there is a county noise ordinance that
Yeah,
used
but
to
you
cover
only go
some.
by the county, which the sheriff has said is.
Well, they're hesitant, but if you bring them out, and we've actually brought them out here, and they say, yes, they can enforce it.
Actually, I'm sorry, I'm Catherine Abbott, 3808 Maple. I had the extensive conversation with the police sergeant. They said they would not send a car out, particular to this one party and then other parties, because there is no ordinance. He went on and on. He said that to make it easy, if we wanted to do the legwork, that we could help Burtchville Township get one by copying other cities and townships, but they would not send a car out. They said they could go to the house. The person at the house could say, no, I'm not going to turn it down, use all kinds of obscenities, and there was nothing they could do.
Well, yes, there is,
Well,
but
this is
what
from
is
them.
his name,
Well,
Sergeant? Who?
I did not write his name down. It was
Oh,
2
that's
o'clock
a
in the
shame.
morning, and this is what I'm like.
I got a
and
call. I
asked
got a
for
call
it.
that particular night.
And I asked,
And I went out and I talked to the sergeant, the desk sergeant that called me. And that's exactly what he told me too. He said they cannot enforce, we don't have an ordinance, and they cannot do anything about it, because if somebody should get belligerent and somebody gets hurt, then they're gonna get sued, for being there, because there's no ordinance.
right.
Now, I have already called Port Huron Township, which already sent me an ordinance. I'm waiting for a couple more. And I was gonna bring it before the board tonight, but I just, I haven't got the other 2 ordinances, and I wanted something for the board to look at, for us to perhaps adopt something, so.
We would be ready to help whatever you need, because suddenly, all of a sudden, everybody's having these crazy start cheering, starting at 2 o'clock in the morning. people leaving their dogs out for 10, 12 hours barking. We have a lot of renters all of a sudden, and they have no consideration. Her husband went and asked people to quiet down, they told them to F off. I'm like, they're the loss of consideration, you know? We didn't even ask them to turn it off, we asked them to turn it down. You know, I understand that you want to have fun, but, you know, people have to sleep and work and.
Okay, and I'd also like to add what the sheriff told me on that particular evening was that, and I sent him a book, we're gonna send a book to the sheriff's department of our ordinances, so they have a book down there, so, you know, they're not calling me at 1:30 in the morning.
Because that was really loud, I don't know, do you
No,
live
no,
there,
was
did
no-
you hear it?
I drove up that area, and I didn't see anything going on there, but, you know, I didn't know.
There was only a few people, but it was a disc jockey, so he had it set up as if it was a wedding in his backyard, aimed at
Oh.
our houses.
Well, but I wanted to explain to you what the sheriff told me too. He said, what I do, if I have an ordinance book from Burtchville Township, he says, I take the ordinance, I fax it to the car, whoever is going up there. He said, we walk in, we show them the ordinance. He said, if they quiet down, they quiet down. But if they don't, there's not a whole, he said, most of the time they get good results by just showing them the ordinance, saying, here's the ordinance of Burtchville Township. You know, so we are looking into it though, and I do have one copy, the Port Huron Township has already sent me a copy of their ordinance. You know, and it's pretty extensive, I mean, it covers everything from, you know, gas stations pumping up tires and mechanical and everything else. So, you know, we need to go through that and check and see what part of it, we may not adopt their whole ordinance, but we certainly will look at some kind of.
Yeah, I know some of them are extreme, and the ticket prices can be pretty extreme.
Yeah.
We just need people to quiet
But we
down.
definitely will, we are, you know, we're in the process right now. so-
How long does something like this take?
Well, I would think, you know, it has to go to the planning commission, correct? You know, we'd have to go to the planning commission, the planning commission would bring something to us, bring it back to the board, and we'd approve it for the township, and then it has to be published, so, you know, it probably could take 90 days at least, you know.
It'd be December before it'd be in effect, that's
Yeah,
what it was.
yeah, that's probably the,
Bang, bang, bang.
you know, but we definitely will not drop the ball, we'll look into it and we'll do
Yeah,
something.
but seriously, if we can help in any way, we would really love to help.
Well, I think it'll go to the planning commission, you know, to review it and see what they want to come up with. So as soon as I get these ordinances, I can get it to the, you know, planning board and they can take a look at it. They meet what, September, right?
Yeah, the fourth day in September.
If you'd want to go to the planning commission meeting on,
It's right here.
it's here too in this building on
We'll do
Tuesday.
that meeting.
It's on Tuesday. So
Okay,
hopefully we can get something in place.
thank you.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the board? Okay. Let's see, next on the agenda is, I'd like to approve the agenda, but I would like to, with the addition of adding under E for new business is the local road funding. And F under cemetery foundation bids. And that would be F under, I guess, new business also. So if we could approve the agenda with those two additions.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with E for local road funding and F for cemetery foundations.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I would ask for, we need a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Department reports. Mark, Fire Department.
Just a reminder that this Sunday is our annual pancake breakfast. It's on the sign, and so the hall will be used for that. Second thing is the burn ordinance. You guys are looking at a burning ordinance. Has any steps been taken down that road?
We
at all?
haven't, yeah. We just haven't had.
Your thoughts on that?
Well, the same thing that Mike does when I get calls at 1:30 in the morning for noise. I only get calls at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for the neighbors smelling the other neighbor's garbage. But But the sheriffs, when I brought them in on a couple of calls, they said the same thing. That they can't do anything unless with local ordinance, because the state, the prosecutor won't work with the state law on that. And their hands are tied, and all they can say is, would you pretty please, with sugar on top, put it out. That's all they can do, because there's no teeth to it. No prosecutor's gonna spend money on something like that, unless it's a local ordinance. And then it beats it up, and then they'll take care of it. But, you know, I know Burtchville Township has one, Kimball has one, same thing. They all have done that for that very reason, because basically, if somebody, you can burn, I would tell everybody in township, burn whatever you want, we can't do nothing about it anyways. I don't care what you burn, because we can say, please put it out, but you shouldn't be burning tires, we have no teeth in the state ordinance.
I did talk to the
Sheriff
I don't
on
know,
that.
it's not the undersheriff, it's, who's the second in command down there?
Must
No, it would be-
third might be a Muxlow.
No, Muxlow.
You talking about?
Yeah. He did, he was gonna send me some stuff and, on the burn, but I haven't.
But
I've not
I think
heard
there's
from him.
some.
But I didn't call him back either, so.
I think Kathy brought something in from Kimball, or Clyde, or where she lives, whatever. She brought something out of their burden ordinance. It has maybe a boilerplate to look at, but I know if you're doing ordinances, let's see a fireworks ordinance on here, I know you're talking about noise ordinance. But some of these things, I think, we're living, you gotta have ordinances these days to,
I guess I don't understand why they won't enforce the state ordinance.
I don't know that. It's
And
the
it's
same
just
as
like
the
with
noise.
these, whoops, they're gone.
Yeah.
With these two gals, we had this problem before, and we called in the sheriff's department, they said that too, until we got a hold of the sheriff. And he said they absolutely have to enforce that, and they did, they took care of it.
Well, Tim, I've talked to him about it, I know Mike has, he said, there's not a prosecutor will spend prosecutor
that's the
money on
problem,
those kind of
prosecutor,
things.
okay.
Maybe they call state police,
Well, there you go.
state laws.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know how it works, but I just think that we gotta maybe look what other people are doing and just follow them, because it's working for them, it would work for us.
I have a contact there with the state police, I'll give them a call, pick their brain and see what they say about, if we call them directly.
Maybe I don't know how it works with the state police, if they come in, do they involve the local county prosecutor, or do they have something else? I don't have no idea.
Yeah, they would, because they don't have a state
Yeah,
president.
so.
Well, what I get from them all the time when I talk to them, and I talk to them quite regularly, is if you guys don't have an ordinance, we can't enforce it.
And I think that's what's
And-
forced all the other townships to already have those in place for those kind of things.
Well, and they're more developed, and they probably have had these problems, and now we're starting to get them too, so.
Yeah, but it's,
Isn't part of the problem right now that citizens will call in and can get a burn permit over the phone? Now, whoever answers the phone may tell them what they can or cannot burn, but they don't sign anything.
right. When they come in and get them,
But some of them don't, some of them just call.
because it's on a weekend when the office is closed,
Right.
somebody called tonight after hours.
But I guess what I'm getting at, there's nothing there. So getting back to that, if we're gonna charge people for it, now Kathy did bring in their,
Oh, yeah, for the annual fee,
yeah, but at least you'd have something in writing as to what they can and cannot do.
but it's the ones who are burning their trash outside their home, and it's blowing to the neighbors. If they're burning something they're not supposed to, we have no teeth to ask them to stop or to come out and put it out.
But that's what I'm saying, if we had something that spells it out, what they can and cannot do.
Yep.
Now, as of, I think this is June, Kimball Township had issued 1,139 burn permits. And what they made on that was over $17,000.
They
Yep,
charge like $15.
we don't charge anything.
Yeah, and that's a year-long permit, so
Yep.
it saves every day, every 4 days, somebody come and get another permit. So it's 12 months, it's from January to December, no matter where you got in that year, it's still $15. It's
Yep.
it's for the annual basis, and people know what to burn.
But
on the other hand is, when they're burning something they're not supposed to, then with an ordinance, they could be issued a ticket by the sheriff's department or by the state police or whoever. But I think,
I mean, just because they have the burning permit doesn't mean that they're abiding by
Right.
ordinance.
Right, they-
And that's.
Well,
where
yeah,
we fail.
but if they've signed something, as opposed to us telling them, they've signed something that says what they can and cannot burn,
yeah,
at least you've got some proof that, yeah, you signed this,
right,
you knew what you were signing.
yeah.
I mean, it's in writing.
But you still need the authority to go out there and enforce it.
Sure.
And you need people to come in and do it, not
Well,
everybody will
I
come in.
understand that, but if the prosecutor's got that document that this person signed, I mean, you can't do a verbal, say, well, he said it, I didn't say it.
And on the other hand,
It just makes sense
if
to
they're
have
burning
it.
tires and they have not got a burning permit, right now, we have no teeth to make them put out the tires,
Yeah.
is the thing. You know, if they.
Or wood or anything else.
Anything
because-
not supposed to be burning.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is somebody has emphysema and the smoke's blowing in their house, or, you know, how it is.
And I'll tell you another thing that I think we need to address, and it probably fits right into this, are these outside furnaces. You know, I had a complaint today, somebody's gonna put one on a 50-foot lot up in North Lakeport, and, you know, where is the smoke? I mean, these houses are right on top of each other.
But anyways, maybe that's a charge to the planning commission that they need to address. You know, those, you know, maybe they need to look at the fireworks, the noise, the burning, and come up with a plan. You know, give them a charge and say, here, you guys need to research this and see what comes up. Well, I don't know, but I just.
Well, we will do
As
that.
you're doing that, that's just one more thing we gotta do.
Okay.
Next item is, as you guys know, on the 19th of July, we had a voting incident that took a number of weeks to clear up. We were able to, since it got to be a large-scale event, we were able to, the Coast Guard actually hired us as a subcontractor. The fire department does a shore assessment team, and so we were able to send a bill through emergency management because they had a bunch of other bills. They were kind of the clearinghouse for everybody. We sent a bill to the U.S. Coast Guard for over $14,000 for the fire department. Put together for all of our man hours, all of our equipment charges. They said it takes around 90 days to get our money, but it's been approved all by the Coast Guard, and so originally it just kind of started as a low-scale event and just kept getting bigger, and it lasted 2 or 3 weeks. I went to how many meetings, Pam had on how many hours of putting together bills. All those things were, the Coast Guard told us, bill for all that stuff, add on 10% for administration fees, for your toner, for your long-distance phone calls, for your paper review, everything. So they told us what was all, because through insurance and through U.S. Coast Guard, they said that no, they don't want any municipality to absorb any cost to the sinking of the Arthur J. So I know us, St. Clair County, the hazmat team, the dive team, Fort Gratiot had some man hours in there. We all were able to send bills into the U.S. Government through the U.S. Coast Guard. They actually gave it an incident event number or a case number, and so it's gonna come back, work out well for us. So it wasn't just a whole bunch of man hours for nothing. So
Yeah. Well, you guys did a
it's
good
gonna,
job with
gonna
that.
come back to that. The siren installation is at Metcalf is gonna start on a Wednesday.
This one?
They were supposed to start it today, but Miss Dig got the wrong address. Give it to them so they can get it cleared. So it's gonna start on a Wednesday
Okay.
of this week. And as soon as they get that, we need to, they asked that, the county has asked that we turn the bill and stuff quickly, because they're getting at the end of their grant cycle where they have to expend the money from their grant to pay for that. So as soon as they get that, I know the bill is $19,900, I think, right around there. But we have to show them a check and all that kind of stuff, so they can send their paperwork in and get reimbursed and issue us a check back. So I don't know how we do it.
Well, we'll do it just the same way we did on the generator.
Yeah, but I mean, they just want to not, because they're getting at the end of their money cycle, and they want to get the money spent before the grant runs out.
They don't want to be paid in advance.
No, but anyway, so Wednesday,
That's a set
I
price,
just.
right?
Huh?
Yeah,
It's a
that's
set price, right?
Yeah, it's a set price, so I don't know how you
got
guys.
the check tomorrow, just keep it in the vault.
It was an estimate for 19,
Probably not till we get the invoice,
you have an estimate from the quote on it,
but we'll get an invoice, right?
yeah. So that's from the company installing, but the county, because they're the ones handling the finances, so.
The check goes to the county.
No, it goes to the vendor, we have to
Okay.
show that we wrote a check to the vendor,
Goes to Washington.
and then I have to submit it to the county, and then they'll reimburse our money
Okay.
full back to us. So I don't know how that works for us, we don't have to wait a month for all that to happen. I know it's every 2 weeks, so we'll work on that. Also, the guy from the generator, back here, you know, on election day, we had a glitch with the power wire down on State Road, and we lost power in half the building here the day of election. The generator didn't start. We found a little problem. We don't have a maintenance agreement currently with that generator out back. It's been there, I think, 3 years now. And no one, I don't it's not my job, I guess, to take care of it, but I was able to get started and took care of it. I think we need to get a maintenance agreement.
Well, I already
for that.
sent an application in.
Yep, that came back today.
Oh, okay.
Um,
You got it?
It came addressed to me, but I put it in the box.
Okay.
But the guy,
I didn't see it. You
just,
sure it's
I
in my
just put it in
book?
there tonight.
Okay.
I talked to them today. There happened to be their salesman who sells the maintenance agreement. It's gonna be going to Sandusky to the airport tomorrow. He's already scheduled to stop by here, look the unit over. Because I told him we had a warning light out, or a warning light on the generator. So he's gonna stop and look at it and clear that. But I think, we need to think about, or we should, get a maintenance agreement. That's 500, he's gonna give us the agreement tomorrow when he's here. It's $527 a year. And I'm sure that the fire department's budget could support half of that to do an annual. They have a semi-annual and an annual maintenance agreement. I told them probably the annual maintenance agreement is probably more than enough for us. If they come in and make sure the charger's working on it, they make sure the blah, 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 all the switches and all the things are doing what they're supposed to do. And,
Do we know on that battery, was a trickle charger not working on it, or?
I don't know that.
Or they don't really know?
They haven't been here, but,
I replaced that battery.
did you?
It had a bad cell.
Had a bad cell in the battery.
I just replaced that in February of 2010.
Yeah,
The reason we couldn't find no paperwork on it because we did it under warranty.
yeah.
And I actually got it through Bob's truck because it was on a weekend. I got it through Bob's truck the first
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
No, this one I got from Napa. They're both Napa batteries, you know.
But anyways, with a maintenance agreement, they come in and make sure everything's working once a year on it. Right now, nothing's happened. And it's like a car engine.
They change the oil and
It's
everything?
got an oil change, it's got to have everything else done to it. And so, he's gonna give the paperwork tomorrow. 'Cause he's gonna be here looking it over, write down all the numbers they're supposed to, and actually turn in the paperwork for a maintenance agreement. So that's gonna be coming. So I don't know how, would you combine that? I asked him what the cost was gonna be for a 60 kW generator. He said it's $527 a year. But I know the fire department would support half of that on our budget. So that paperwork will be coming, and it's just nice to have that thing when it's supposed to start. It has started, well, the very next day, Friday, that week. Friday, I got, at 6:30 in the morning when I got out of bed, my wife came in and said, hey, honey, the generator's running at the fire hall. And it had started just because it ran a couple days before, must have had the thing charged straight up on battery. And it did start itself,
Kicked right down.
because there was a line down on State by Myrtle. And so that had started, ran for 4.5 hours on that Friday after the election. So we just had to maintain it. You know, it didn't cost us nothing to get it, we just had to do that, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Building department, Bill?
1st of July, we had 3 permits totaling $213,800, and we collected a fee of $1,792.
Okay. Water department, Dusty will be flushing the lines, fire hydrants and stuff, September 10th, 2012, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. And you'll have the project done by the 15th of November. And on the other hand, we're hoping that we haven't exceeded our water limits, but we have not got our reports from DWSD yet to where we are. And I mean, with the hot summer the way it was, hopefully we're not over. And if we're not, you know, we can get a review and maybe look at getting a lower rate for next year coming. So, but I don't know until. You know, I said to Dusty, well, what's your feeling? He said we're close on some of the days. He said, but he wasn't sure because they haven't sent the printouts yet of where we are with our, you know, peak levels and off-peak levels. So that's it for the water department. Jane, the library?
We haven't had any problems in the building internally. The only time we have a problem now is just if there's a hard rain, which of course hasn't been too much of this summer, but we could issue waiters out front on days when there's a lot of water, just because, as it does still.
That will be fixed with.
We're
That's
going to
fine.
fix that with,
Okay.
you know, we do the
Yeah,
other
because
part.
it's just an awkward place where it accumulates,
Yeah,
right
there's a
where
hole
the ramp would be, that handicapped people would be coming up.
Yeah.
awkward place to have a pond.
Okay. Thank you. Unfinished business. Chapel restoration project, would anybody care to address that?
Well, tomorrow and Wednesday, they're going to seal the windows, and
Is it tomorrow or next Tuesday?
no, it's tomorrow.
Is it? 23rd, 22nd,
Oh, no, you're right, it's not tomorrow.
28th and 29th.
28th and 29th, sorry about that. We're gonna work on the windows. And the storm windows, whatever needs to be sealed.
Didn't they come all sealed?
Don't ask me, you'd have to ask him that.
Oh,
Well, I think they're talking about the wood itself.
The wood
Putting
might
the
on the
preserve-
inside.
On the
Putting
inside.
stuff
Wood on the inside.
oh, on the inside,
Yeah.
okay.
The
Yeah,
windows.
Because the
also-
storm windows are painted, but it's on the inside.
Oh,
Plus, Jim was patching a couple spots where there was a couple bubbles. He was working on that too. On the siding itself.
Oh, okay.
Probably doing it at the same time.
And we had our 2-day yard sale and made, total with the 2 days and things, right around $1,100.
Oh, that's very good.
So the community
Very good.
really supported us. They brought us a lot of stuff and they came back and bought a lot.
Thanks for your hard work. A lot of hard work goes into that.
Almost
Proposal-
double of last year.
Proposal for restoring Old Township Hall.
Well, in order to get the closets finished, and I think you're kind of anxious to get the siding on as much as we can, other than where the foundation will have to be addressed. I asterisked on this estimate, the projects that I would like to see completed right now. I think it's really necessary to get these done, particularly before the election. It gives us some time to get that done for that. It got a little crowded and, well, anyway, we're out of storage. So I would like to see this approved tonight. And then we could get addressing these.
So 5,300 is what you're asking for?
Right, for the 4 items that have an asterisk beside them, that is putting in the 3 new vinyl windows, install and paint wood siding provided by township, remove old closets, build new ones with shelves, close off the old back door, and refinish the cabinet fronts with new cabinet doors in the kitchen area and install locks so that each group that uses the hall permanently, regularly, has their own cupboard with locks. It's just, it gets pretty messy right now because the cupboards are not divided, the stuff kind of flows from one cupboard to another, and that would be that.
You know, I would entertain a motion to go ahead and accept these 3, I guess, what are the 4 items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. 5 items, and that includes removing the old registers, right?
Oh, that's right, sorry, I forgot
We got
that.
the old registers to remove,
Mm-hmm.
install locks, cupboards. I would make a motion that, this money has all been budgeted,
That's right.
so I would make a motion that we go ahead and do these 4 items that are on this sheet right now.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I
Other
have-
discussion?
I have some questions. The windows,
Mhm.
they're not vinyl windows, those are Henderson wood windows.
Wood windows, vinyl coated on the outside.
I don't think he can do those 3 windows for that amount of money.
Well, I asked him, Al, and he
I think
had,
we paid more than that for him before, and I
he
tried
had,
to look it up and I didn't have enough time.
actually, he had a smaller figure in there to begin with, and I said the same thing. I said, you need to go back and look at that. This is when we began this, when in the spring, winter, and that's when he changed the figure to 1,800 for the 3. I think he's doing this pretty reasonably, the whole
The
thing.
labor,
Yeah,
you know,
he's
that-
pretty
no,
minimal
that-
on,
I'm
He's-
afraid he might be too minimal, but,
well,
but the other thing is, we have to replace that window in the back also.
well, that, we haven't given to anybody to get an estimate on, so,
Well, you can't put siding on until you have a window.
well, Al, did you look into that? This has been proposed for months.
Well, I would make a motion if the window is $500 or $600, which evidently.
Well, we're gonna have to have other windows, all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is,
And you can
if
approve
he
this,
needs,
but-
if he needs another window to side the
Well-
building, then we go ahead and get the window.
Well, let's vote
Put it
on the
in.
first one, and then bring up the second one, okay?
First.
The first motion, we already have a motion and a second, that's to
Well,
approve.
we're discussing, because we could change our motion.
Okay,
You know, that's why we're discussing
No,
this.
that's fine, include, just so you know that there's gonna have to be another window before that siding
right,
can
we
go
talked
on.
about that, and
And are we,
Well, I would like to amend my motion then,
Okay.
if
Well,
that's
let's-
what
you
we're
don't
gonna
know,
do.
you don't know what the cost is, so.
Well, I'm gonna average, they got 3 windows here at, I imagine they're around $600 a piece. You know, I'm
that's
just
a
saying.
double
but
window
that's
different
it.
size.
Old window there, so.
You
Oh, is
could,
there 2 windows involved in that?
you could,
I would just approve.
Well, let's
what's here.
prove that what we
and
did
it's
to do
probably
this.
under 1,000, Mike, could approve that, is that what you're gonna say?
Well, not necessarily that, I was gonna say we're gonna be, probably having to have a special meeting here in a week or so, as soon as the rest of the
Okay,
prices come in on the foundation, because that.
you still waiting on those?
Yes, which that really needs to be done.
Yes, it
before-
does.
Because it's, right now, it's a 2-block foundation,
Right,
and it's got about a 6-inch footing, and it's a mess under there,
yeah.
so.
Okay, so we're gonna approve this motion then?
Yeah, yes. I
And you can
would,
proceed on the interior and hold off on the
I
exterior?
would, is there any further discussion?
Well, you
I'm
never
gonna
know.
hit one other question.
What's that?
Okay, the back door is gonna be, the west door is gonna be gone,
Yes, and I
Okay.
did talk with Tom Dunn today,
and
and he said 2 doors are,
the 2
More
doors we
than
have right
enough.
now is enough, okay,
Yeah,
that's all I wanna make
so,
sure, because
right.
you were gonna talk to Tom.
yeah, I did.
Good. And there's one other thing there.
Mhm.
Up in that front corner, that old chimney needs to come over there. It's boxed around, which is right where you want to put a closet.
Well, that would be a lovely thing, but
Which
that's
will
gonna
give you more
cost more.
closet
Yeah,
space. Well, I know, but,
okay.
because that was just boxed around there a little bit. That's probably from when it was in school.
I didn't even know
That's
what
on
it
the-
was, I didn't know
on our
why
side.
it was there.
Yeah,
It has to come down before it's signed.
well,
No.
no, before he builds
Before he
that
builds
one
that
closet.
closet. That was
Okay, it's on
Closet
the,
in that corner.
okay, I see, I know what
So-
you're talking.
Okay, so that can be discussed at the next,
That can be discussed with the other window.
okay, so, but he could proceed, if we approve
Yep.
this tonight, he could proceed with the other 2 closets at this point.
Yeah, that would be the place to start now with the signing, so.
Okay,
Okay, any other further discussion? Hearing none, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Empel,
Yes.
Mrs. Minnie,
Yes.
Mr. Violet,
Yes.
Mr. Platzer,
Yes.
Mrs. Tremble, yes.
Motion carries. And you didn't get an estimate yet for the repairing the whole foundation?
No, I'm doing also.
So we'll move on to our new business. Planning Commission appointments. I would like to make a recommendation that we appoint John Lebetti to the Planning Commission. We have 1 space available.
Need a second?
Is that, who's that? Who's that?
Jack?
Is Dylan?
Jack?
Jan Armstrong.
Yeah, okay.
I'll second.
Do the citizens have a say about that?
No,
Not
No.
really.
no, not really.
You want to do this first and then renew the other 2? Because that has to be done, reappoint the other 2?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. It has to be done too.
Well, that's what my question was, about the difference, because it's supposed to be 3 appointments.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We'll
reappoint
just
Frank. Frank is getting reappointed, and,
You want to include that in this?
if we can.
To put John Lebetti in Yes.
He'll be replacing Jack Armstrong.
And Frank Schwartz, and who's the other one? I don't
Is
have
that
that.
Loretta?
No,
No.
I
Paul
don't have,
Richards? It's Loretta or Paul Richards?
no. It is Paul, isn't it? No, it was.
No, I don't
it
think
is-
so. No, Paul isn't, no. Let me think, I gotta put it on the board here. Look.
Oh dear, I have that written down too, somewhere.
Is it Larry?
No, Larry,
You want me to go get it?
yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to find out who it is, I can't remember.
I'll go get the chart.
Can I ask another question about that?
Sure.
Who determines these individuals?
Well, they're picked by, supervisor picks them.
Which supervisor?
The township
The
supervisor.
township supervisor.
The township supervisor makes the recommendation to the board of who to put on the planning commission.
To you guys?
This is what he's doing right here. This is
Okay.
his
This is
recommendation.
what I'm
All
recommending.
right. So if I have another comment, should I just wait till the end for the public comment?
That's probably what do best.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is Larry Dupuy.
Is it Larry? I'm sorry. Short memory. Paul was it? I knew Paul was it.
So where you amended your motion and you're supporting that, or
Mhm.
you're supporting that?
So we have a motion to appoint John Levady and reappoint Frank Schwartz and Larry. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, do we need a roll call?
Probably.
We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ample?
Yes?
Mr. Platzer?
Yes.
Mr. Breilet?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mrs. Trumbull, yes.
Okay, moving on, annual review for William Bosch. Bill requested that we do that in closed session, so that will be done in closed session, and I think we'll do the closed session after the. Okay, 3 picnic tables for the park. Our picnic tables, we need to start replacing some of the picnic tables up in the park. And,
Yeah.
we've looked at 3,
Oh, I didn't.
looked at 2, do we have that? It's in here on the back.
Under new business. Hopefully you got it.
No, I have.
Okay, I've got one here if you don't.
No, I
Right at the very end. Right underneath the new business sheet.
don't.
These are from Dusty? I assume?
From the catalog.
Yeah. I mean, Dusty did this.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there was nothing, I just said, Mike, I have, and I'm thinking, okay, who did this?
No, he picked them out, and we
Okay.
went to the state park. I mean, we went and investigated different tables, and these tables are really the sound. They're not gonna pick these things up and carry them away, they're good sound tables. There's the wood on them. The wood on them is womanized wood, and we can also buy the wood and stack it in, and when we need to replace a board in it, we can just replace the board, it's all steel. So they're all good frames, and we're getting one handicap for the pavilion, where you can wheel a wheelchair right up under the end, and two of the other, the 6 foot, and the 8 foot. So, and the total price for those are $745.82.
I'll make a motion to get 3 picnic tables for the park.
We have a motion and support.
Dusty's putting these together?
Yeah.
Who's the second? Jody? Al?
Al. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Breilet?
Yes.
Mr. Platzer?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mrs. Tremblay, yes.
On this fireworks ordinance that, I gave everybody a copy of it, and I just, it's really an information deal. I don't expect us to make any, it's just something that we need to look at, because I think down the road, within the next month or two, that the state is gonna revise their take on that ordinance. Hopefully they do, But in the meantime, this is what Port Huron drafted up, and I asked them to send us a copy so we had something to look at. So, as far as making any movement of adopting one or doing anything about that, I just want the board to have a chance to look at this and study it, and, we can make recommendations to our planning commission of what, send it to them and let them come up with, something, so. And that is only a temporary ordinance until, when is it out?
September 7th.
September 7th, so.
July 10th, September 7th.
And it covers they can explode them for 3 days, I just briefly looked at it, but 3 days before a holiday and 3 days after a holiday, and then after that, that's it, so. That was just for our information. Local road funding, that's another, I think, we need to do something by the September 28th, so I think we need to just, the board needs to study this and see what programs, if any, that we want to get involved in with our road funding, and, so.
Is that the match money?
No, that's over and above, that's what we did the paving with, was local road funding. That's a whole separate match thing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the one that they matched.
Yeah,
But we have separate match funds
The
for.
one we did the road paving last year, not this year.
Right, right.
So, I guess we need to check and, get the ear of the residents of what, things need to be done and what we can get match money for, so. And we'll discuss that at our next month's meeting.
Well, as our special meeting, we'll have to have it in before.
Well, that's again by the 28th, when I...
Oh, okay, you're right, okay.
September 7th.
20th of September. Okay. Cemetery foundation proposal. As you know, we're getting a new lawn maintenance people, and the old lawn maintenance people did our foundations in the cemetery. The new company that's going to do the lawns is not in the cement business, or wasn't interested in doing the foundations in the cemetery. So I did some research, and I got a guy that does this. He does it for...
St. Dennis?
He does it for...
Does it for Lexington, St. Dennis, St.
you
Patrick,
have-
Croswell, St.
Yeah.
John's, Peck, Elk Township, and St. Mary's Port Salmon.
Mm-hmm. Here, did I take yours? I'm going to...
Oh. You don't know that. So, I think he's a little more money than what we were paying. 10 cents a foot for the 8-inch.
We charge, what, 25 cents?
20.
I thought we raised it 25.
No. No. He was still doing it for 15, but he was doing the deeper,
Yeah, but I
Foundation.
thought we were supposed to raise it to 25 then, because it used to be done for 10. It used to be half and half. And then we just increased it, what we did, we didn't.
okay,
Yeah.
we didn't though.
Right, okay.
Well, I think if we're going to take these prices, his recommendation is 18 inches for those foundations, by the way, instead of 8 inches. That's just to take into consideration. He also does, and I talked to him about, because we have a lot of old stones over there, he does refurbish old stones, so I think he's a good guy to get a hold of, contact him to maybe take a look, and I think that the board ought to take a look at starting a restoration project of the old stones and stuff that are in the cemetery that need to be redone and put on new foundations. That's just out for your information, so. We don't need to make a decision on this tonight.
Well, yes, we
do.
do.
We got a couple
Yeah,
things
we've
that
got
need to be
a
done.
couple waiting.
Well, okay, I mean,
we could hire him, you know,
he'll do it for, you know, the 28 or 35 or whatever depth we want, you know, unless, and then if we want to do a contract with him to make sure, contract him to do all the rest of ours, you know, he's very reliable and he's very, very good at what he does. You know, I've seen St. Denis Cemetery in Lexington, and where else does he do it? Lexington, Croswell? Does he do Croswell too?
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of them, so.
And personally, I like his idea of 18 inches. I've always felt we were light on how deep we were going.
Well, and I
Even though
think
it's sandy,
if we're gonna go to 18 inches, then we're gonna have to raise our price.
oh,
you know, to
yes.
the people, but I think in the long run, you know, in the long run, doing the depth at 18 inches, that we'll have a lot less problems. Maybe not in the next 25 years, but 40 years down the road, you know, they're not gonna have to do a restoration project of redoing, you know, so. I don't know. If somebody wants to entertain a motion, we're certainly open for a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion that we at least have him, do you want a trial period? Do you want a month?
Well, for the rest of the year, it'd be nice.
Okay, for the rest of the year? I mean, you know, so we can see what,
Yeah, because we'll get a run on him towards fall, you know, so start getting late, we'll get a half dozen probably. But we're gonna, whatever we're gonna do, tonight we need to change the rate
Right.
for the foundations. So it's gonna be based on whatever you want to do, you want 8 inches or 18
well, I'll make a
inches?
motion to hire Sirline Enterprise from now,
Through
August.
2012?
Yes, through 2012, and use the 18 inches and raise our price to take care of the cost.
Accommodate it.
I'll second that motion.
You want to just add 40 cents a square inch?
Yeah, what's
That's
So we'll
fine.
Just be done with it?
I think so.
I mean, that's,
You're the
To
cemetery person.
the,
well, that's a nickel more than what you're paying, so.
Okay,
That's what we were getting, basically, that's what we've been getting, a nickel more, so,
Mhm.
for now.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
and see how it works. We have from now to the end of the year.
Okay.
Well, we got,
It's a wash.
we got two motions here. We're gonna raise
Well-
our price and we're gonna, okay, let's do the.
And then that will go in the same one.
You know, probably shouldn't.
I don't
Okay.
think we should. I think we should do
Okay.
them separately.
That's fine.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to accept Shoreline Enterprises bid at 18 inches at 35 cents a square inch. And we're going to have a contract with them until the end of 2012. Is that?
That's fine.
Is it right?
That's
And
fine.
we have a motion and we have a second. I guess I'd add, if there's any further questions, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Brylett?
Yes.
Mr. Platzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Tremble, yes.
Okay,
Now you need another motion to set
now,
the price.
somebody would like to set a motion.
I move that we raise the cost of the footings to 40 cents a square inch.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second to raise our price to 40 cents a square inch.
That's
I don't-
Hmm?
That's inflation.
I don't,
Well, you're getting a lot more for your
I don't think we need to discuss it any further, so I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Mr. Brylett?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Platzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Tremble, yes.
Okay, thank you, the motion carries.
Do you think we can maybe send a letter to monument people to do this thing?
Yeah, particularly
Well,
dogs.
they'll be very familiar with this.
No, I mean, the pricing.
Right,
Oh,
price
oh,
increase,
oh,
right.
Moving on, supervisor's report. Well, I'd like to finally make the announcement that the benches are on the bike path. If anybody's been over there to take a look at them, and I think we need to send letters of thank you to the folks that helped us and the folks that donated the benches. And I mean, a lot of people worked very hard getting those benches on over there, so.
And to Mr. Nettis and his son?
Mr. Meta and his two sons, Mr. Labady.
Okay, well, we can get those from you tomorrow. Those names.
Alvaro Jr.
The guy down.
Ben Barch.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's
No, I
get those
got
all
it. I-
tomorrow,
I-
yeah, okay.
Huh?
Don't forget Ben.
Oh, no.
You got it wrote down, didn't you?
Uncle.
Yeah, I got it, yeah, I got it written down. And Dan Knuckle, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the posts, hopefully the posts and the signs are gonna be put up this weekend too. So that, hopefully, we should have that all completed by next week. And they're going across, you know, you sit on the bench, you look at the sign, so. And then Mr. Meta's gonna donate some shrubbery to put around the post, and the kids are gonna plant flowers. Of course, it's getting pretty late now for flowers. So, and that's Students for a Healthy America out of Port Huron Northern High School are the ones that are handling that project. And like, they took it on, and they're gonna do supposedly maintain the bushes and the plants, put flowers in the summer. So it's nice to get the people involved. So that's all I have. Clerk.
Well, I'd just like to say that the election went very well, despite the fact that we lost power in half the building. We didn't lose power for the voting machines, which was wonderful. I think the public was very pleasant for the most part. The primary election can be very confusing because you cannot split your ballot. So we had quite a few spoiled ballots because of that, but they were able to re-vote, and I think it went pretty smoothly myself. I was happy with the results. We had a pretty good turnout, fairly steady turnout. The November election will be huge, I'm estimating, but anyway, that's my report pretty much.
Okay. Jody, treasurer's report?
Nope, nothing this
Okay.
time.
Trustee Cindy.
Well, a couple things. Now that Harris Road is done, our free road that we got put in back in, whatever year that was now,
Long time
a
ago.
long time ago, is now back to
Oh, 1987.
1987, okay, well, it's back to its former beauty, and I'm glad to see that's done. And just to comment on the bike path, one of the things, somebody from out of our area who walks bike paths regularly has been coming and walking it the last couple weekends. And he was absolutely amazed at how clean it is. There were only 2 things they found on the trail that somebody had dropped and left. How well the grass was cut back on both sides. Apparently there's trails in areas that it's not cut at all, right from the blacktop. And he only had one suggestion, and that was a trash container at each end, so that if they did find something, they could pick it up and put it in the trash containers. And they loved the benches. So that's good things on the bike path.
Okay. Anything else?
No?
No? Okay. We'll do extended public comment, and then we're going to go into closed session, so people, if you want, you can leave. So, is there any extended public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Back in May, I
You
turned.
stand up and
Oh,
give your
sure.
address, please. and your name.
Renee McPhail, 6231 Lake Shore. Back in May, I turned in 23 blight complaints, and I have not heard anything back on them. They were written, like the board has asked us to do. As you recall, back in August of last year, Mr. Fletcher did a verbal complaint, which was not allowed, and tickets were issued, a lawyer was hired, and you went to court. Now, the reason I have a problem with Mr. Lebetti is because he was one of the blight that I had written up. Now, I really don't think you would ask Louis to be on the planning commission, but we have an individual.
You're assuming that.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know you quite well, Mike, I'm pretty sure. And John's a little bit closer to you than Louis, but I wrote him up. I have not heard anything.
Normally don't call a person complaining, I take care of them, and I have been working on them a little at a time.
Well, at the bottom of it, it does say what action was required. I haven't gotten any of them back. It's been 3 months, and like I said, you took a verbal complaint from Mr. Fletcher, which you made quite clear to me is not allowed, hired an attorney, and went to court. I've done mine the correct way, and I haven't heard anything.
Well, let me say this about the verbal complaint. The verbal complaint was made at an open meeting here, and that is in the record.
No, it is in the records, but
Absolutely.
you made it clear to me and to Mr. Abernathy, we asked you, if we make a verbal complaint, will you go by it? No. If we call the township hall and make a verbal complaint, no. It's on tape, Mike. You made it quite clear. You only deal with verbal complaints. And what's
Then I apologize
and I accept that.
misspeaking.
I accept that.
That is part of the record. Mr. Fletcher's complaint is part of the local record. It's in the minutes of the meetings, you know.
Yeah, it is.
It's written down. So
It is, but it's not a written complaint. He should have went down there
Well,
and made a written
I'm not
complaint.
gonna argue
Of
with you.
course, you're not gonna argue with me,
So-
because that's what you always do when you can't answer it. But you're on tape. I FOIA'd and asked you for that written complaint. What came back to me was, I'm sorry, it was a verbal. Now, you need to stand by your word. You represent us.
I just
No,
apologized.
I know you just apologized, but you just told me he came here and it was on record. It's completely different, and you know that.
It's in the minutes of the meeting.
It is in the minutes
It's
of the
official.
meeting. No,
If
it's
it's in-
not. You made it clear.
That's your
No.
opinion.
No. You made it clear. It's on tape. If I have to bring the tape in, I will.
But you don't
But
have to bring it.
Oh, well, you
Yeah.
need,
Okay, what's your point?
my point is, you were wrong.
I admitted that I was wrong. Now, what do you want me to do?
I thank you.
You know, I'm sorry.
I thank you.
I'm sorry for being wrong. You know, sometimes you misspeak, you know.
Well, you seem to do it a lot.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else care to comment?
I was out at the park today. The trash cans that are by the skateboard park, both of them look like they're ripped out of, I don't know how they're put in there, but it looked like they were screwed down into the cement
Yeah.
so that the liner could come out, but the outside things are just completely trash.
No,
That's our lovely little hooligans that
Yeah,
I'll have Dusty look at that.
okay.
consistently trash our park.
All right. Just recently, the board passed an ordinance on the trash cans at businesses, the big containers, making it easier for businesses to follow that ordinance. The only place that I can see that has an enclosed is the mobile station. The other dumpsters in the township are overflowing. They're nasty looking by the restaurants, by some of the other places that are in town. I know there's been a couple of places that just got permits to go into business. If the other ones are being grandfathered in for whatever reason, they don't have to do it, that's fine. But just recently, since that happened, some new permits have been issued. I think that should be followed up on because it is messy. vermin, et cetera, et cetera. And a couple of businesses closed and reopened, and they haven't done anything about it either. And the last thing that I have is, I attended a special meeting this month about the bids for the lawn maintenance company. But I don't find anywhere where the sealed bids were discussed in that manner for the work that Al did over by the library. That just seems, there was no meeting done? and
Yes.
no-
Yes,
There-
there is.
oh, there
Absolutely,
was?
and it was approved.
Yeah,
And there were at least, how many bids on that one?
4 or 5.
we had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
It was five.
Five.
Five letters, so.
When was
There
the
were
meeting?
5 bidders set out. I don't know, I have to look.
I have to look too.
I don't know exactly what the date is, but we can.
Was it a special meeting?
I'm not sure, let you
No.
know. No, I think it was done at a regular meeting, wasn't it? Was it done?
I don't remember, I'd have to look that up.
I think it was done in,
I thought,
I know the
last,
bid,
at July's
being-
meeting, Mr. Apple announced that the bid to demolish the DPW was awarded to Private Construction.
Right.
It was done in
Those were
June.
bids. The bids were turned in, sealed bids,
Mhm.
and you opened mine in August,
we opened.
no, July.
I don't know, we'd have to, you know. if
First
you
part
want-
of July.
If you want that information, we'll get it for you.
Okay.
Get you.
I just didn't, it appeared that the opening of the bids and the discussion of the bids and the approval of the bids was done at a board meeting. I couldn't find that information about the other work. I know it was discussed at a meeting, but I didn't see it voted on, that
The
the
other-
lowest bid was actually awarded
Mhm.
at a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
It was?
Mhm.
Okay.
It
So it
definitely.
would have been the month before that?
I'd have to look it up, we'll have to find that for you.
Okay, I'll look it up. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But if you haven't got it, we'll be.
No,
glad to
I'll
give you the
I'll look it
information
up.
on
I have it.
So. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
One more. I just want to know why John LeBady was appointed due to the fact that he breaks ordinances. I want to know why you would pick somebody that has a blight issue, and he's voted to be put on the planning commission.
What is this blight issue?
Have you drove out there? It's worse than
No, I
Louis.
have not drove.
You haven't? I think you better take a drive, because it's worse than Louis. I don't know why you would appoint somebody like that. It doesn't make sense.
Bill, have you checked that in,
I just have to look, I've got it here, I've got it already. What's John's address? I don't remember.
he's on, what is
Jello Babcock.
Where?
Joe,
Babcock Road.
No, I don't see it. Wait a minute, let me see this.
Well, maybe you want to take that under advisement.
I mean, he can get back with me on that, but if I
Is
need
that
to
the one
bring...
that says east side of Babcock between General and Harris?
Yes.
Jetto and
That
Harris.
was the one I was wondering where it was at. No, I know where it is.
He doesn't have an address out front,
Didn't give me the address.
so I don't...
Well, we'll
know.
take it under advisement, I'll
I mean-
check it out.
I mean,
I will.
please drive by, it's
If
worse
he's
than
got blight there, I'll
Louis,
ask him to clean it up.
and he needs to clean it up. I mean, you're after Timberline all the time, and now you're appointing somebody like that to the planning commission?
We'll take that under advisement.
Thank
If he's
you.
got blight out there, I'll ask him to clean it up.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, did somebody make a motion to go into closed session? Executive session?
I'll move that we go into executive session and discuss.
There's a second.
I will.
Have a motion on that.